Hello and a warm welcome to everyone joining us today. I'm your host Danvinder Kaur from lovely Professional University. We are excited to have you with us and look forward to an engaging and insightful session. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's topic UX engineering, bridging the gap between design vision and code. Before we proceed further, allow me to introduce the experts of the day. Ms. Navjot Kaur, Assistant Professor, School of Computer Science and Engineering, Lovely Professional University. With a strong background in computer science and experience in academia and industry, she has guided over 70 engineering projects and taught numerous graduates and postgraduate students. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Abhishek Prasad also in this webinar. Welcome, Mr. Abhishek Prasad. He is the UX designer and educator, brings over 25 plus years of industry experience in UX design, delivering impactful user centered solutions across diverse sectors. Mr. Abhishek continues to shape the future of UX through design strategy, education, and innovation. Before we proceed further in today's session, I would like to request everyone for any questions. You can write in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and same will be as for my side in the end of this webinar. Now I'm going to hand over this session to our experts, Ms. Navjot Kaur and Mr. Abhishek Prasad, and it would be an absolute delight to listen from them. Over to you both.
Thank you, Dalvinder. So, welcome everyone. Today, we'll explore the fascinating and emerging field that sits at the top of intersection between the design and code, which is called as UX engineering. It is critical role shaping how digital products are built today. Why this talk matters for the design students? Let's focus over there. Being an students today, what we are hearing today, you are learning design craft, but the industry needs more than just a great design. you know it needs people who can bring those design to the life with consistency, performance, and accessibility. UX engineers make that possible. So people think that it is only a UX designer. No, it's a job of multiple peoples. Designers are the one who are initiating, who shake hand with the product industries or product management, and then come to the engineers who are making it possible, who are shaping them and delivering them to the clients or to the industry, right? So let's take a deep look into over there why UX engineering, right? And how it is going to help us onto the industry. So before that, I would like to just give a small brief that I'm working with a company called ADP, which is a giant company into a enterprise product. Because here we are creating a lot of products from hire to retire. Okay, and I'm bringing those experiences from my last 25 years. I worked for ADP, I worked for IBM, and many other multinational companies. And basically, I will be bringing those enterprise level experience to you and talking um, about all of this when we are talking about this topic on engineering, UX engineering. Very interesting topic, and it is very connected with the UX design. I am playing that role. I am connected with them from last many years, and I have learned a lot of them. I have a good empathy with the engineering folks, and I have also learned a lot how actually we can make the entire environment easy and comfortable, right? With that, I would like to move on. Okay, so I would like to start with what is UX engineering. If you guys can just say, or if you know something about UX engineering, can you put down on the chat, this webinar chat? I'll just take a look on the webinar chat. According to you, what is UX engineering? It could be one sentence, it could be one word that you wanted to say. I would like to see your responses in the webinar chat.
Mr. Abhishek, sorry for the interruption. You just go with the flow. We'll take the questions and queries later in the webinar. Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
So, as a UX engineer, uh, UX engineer is someone who speaks both design and code. Okay, they then they turn the Figma files into a functional interfaces and ensure design intent is prevented or preserved in development, right? For example, think of them as a multilingual translators between the designers and developers. Those are UX engineers, right? So here we have some definition and role in which we generally categorize them, and we can generally consume them with their expertise, right? When we say user experience engineering, right, it is nothing but a engineering team who is expert in creating the user experience. Now there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of principles, there are a lot of things which we are going to see how the UX engineering is basically playing a role. What makes them called as UX engineering? Why we call them, right? So UX engineering versus the front end developers versus the UX developer, there is a very blur line into that. But if I talk about into the each of the role, the UX designer is majorly focusing on gathering the requirements, understanding the users pain point needs, and there is a study which they generally do, user experience designer generally do, to understand what kind of a need it is, what we are trying to solve, what is the long term goal, what is the biggest objective or the business objective, right? We generally understand from the perspective of the user and the business to cater that particular design. Now, when we are catering the design, we are basically looking certain parameters to come up with a certain solution, which is not just a UI, which is not just a solution, but it is an experience. Now, you can imagine, um, suppose you are using a Swiggy or Zomato. I believe none of you have taken any kind of a experience or any kind of a training from any kind of a YouTube video how to use the Swiggy, right? Or how to use a Zomato application. It is natural, it is intuitive, it is driven by the design that once you select it asks you to for the payment and so on. It is so intuitive that once you come onto the page it will tell you what is expected. That is called intuitive. That is where the UX designers are coming now. Those are transferred to the user experience engineers. Now engineers understand from the story, from the requirement, from the story points, what is expected to be created, what kind of experience is to be given when we are coding those things. And similarly, there are certain set of developers which are also called as UI developers or front end developers, right? Now, certainly in the big industries or in the enterprise industry, we generally call them UX engineers because they are very much aligned to the design system. And I believe what is design system, you know, but I will be touching, don't worry about that, I will be touching upon what is design system, why do we need that, and why we call UX engineers, right? So here is the small introduction about the design system also. So I will talk about those things. So if I talk about if a designer builds a beautiful model, the UX engineers generally ensure that it animates correctly and it is accessible, right? That is the most important part of the function where the UXE or UX engineers ensure that it animates correctly and it is accessible. Now, UX engineers reduce frictions in handoffs, prototype ideas faster, and contribute to reusable design system, right? So, if I give you an example, in our company, we had design decisions happening 2 weeks faster, thanks to the coded prototypes built by the UX engineer, because that is also very much required when we are going for the user acceptance testing. Because without user acceptance testing, we are not going to launch our product. And you must have heard the new term called shift left, right? Shift left is nothing but a concept in which we are shifting the entire work which we used to do after the development before the development. So we have shifted the entire piece of work onto the left hand side. Before we go and deliver something, we will definitely go design as per the requirement, take the user into the center, and understand. We do the a lot of user concept testing, hypothesis testing, and usability testing, and then we generally deliver it to the development. Before development, we have actually make sure that the concept is working, solution is working, and hence we are saving lot of rework, lot of getting the feedbacks and then rework and then create. So those kind of a cycles are totally eliminated. Now we have entered into the another era of design and delivering, where we are totally move on the shift left. So we are focusing more on the designs and the testing first, then we deliver it to the development team, and then they deliver it to the live or to the clients. So this is the process that we generally follow, and this is the hierarchy or bifurcation, I would say, between the UX designer, UX engineer, or you can call it as a front end developer, right? Now, coming to the power of UX engineering in product teams. So let's say, for an example, we had design decision happening the 2 weeks faster, thanks to the coded prototype built by the UX engineer. Now, even the prototypes are built by the UX engineers because we wanted to validate. If we could not do validation, it could be not very clear to the users. It could be a rework later on the stages, right? So we have actually taken it back or left, I would say, and then we have tested well, right? So this is where the UX engineering is shining. Let me move on to to the next topic. What are the common gaps between design and development? Okay, so design often gets lost in translation when we are converting those designs into the code. Generally, it happens that we get lost in the translation because of the limitation, because of the knowledge of the folks, because of the certain elements which are not available, or because of the system design system, right? If those are not very matured, if those are not very much ready, we generally lost some of the things in the translation, like padding is off, font look different, and things don't behave as expected. Those could be the reasons, right, when the translation is not example. So now here one of the example that I would like to portray in front of you. Ever seen a Figma layout with 16 pixels spacing, but actual site shows 12 pixel or 20 pixel? That is the gap, right? That is the gap. So Figma says here it is 16, but developer doesn't know, because those are designed by designers, right? But developers are picking from the designs. They don't know, but this gap is also filled now, and we have a good tools for the developers, which makes this very clear when we are handovering our designs to the engineering team, and they can directly come to the Figma file. They can use the dev code or dev mode into the Figma, and they can see each of the classes, the files, the spaces, the padding, the font sizes, the color, everything. And that is where we are filling that gap, to bridge the gap between design and development, right? Here is the interconnections with this thing. Now coming to the real world challenges. Okay, so what happens? Inconsistent spacing, typography, or lack of token usage lead to chaos. Add to that, performance issues and no shared naming convention is again one of the reason, right? So what and how we are actually fixing this? As I said, design system. If you haven't seen the design system, I would definitely like you to go and explore, though I will be talking about that in a couple of slides later, because design system is a common platform which is bridging, which is unifying the designs and the coding, and it has a libraries where design uses primary blue and development right. So generally the classes are defined, okay, where we say it is a primary blue, but when the developments see it is showing as a hexa value of that color, right? Let's say hash 4 times 0 ff is the color of that particular thing, but we have defined them into a token or in the classes. So we do not have to remember the color code, but we have only have to remember the class or the token name, right? So token name is primary blue. We use all the tokens, all the primary blue as a token into wherever we want this particular color. And once it is being implemented in future, if we want it to change, we just have to come to the token and change the color. It will reflect all the places. And that is how we are actually using the design system. And now this is what QA sees something different, and it breaks trust, right? Sometimes what happens, like when you are using certain hash codes, it is not being followed all the places, but when we are using the tokens, it is being continuously followed through. And generally the quality assurance guys are also making sure that whether it is consistent or not, right? So that is where the real world challenges comes, where it is interdependent, not only the designers but development, QA, and certainly it is the users who are using will also face the challenges when they see different color into a different blues, right? So we don't want that. We want a similar consistent experience though. Another topic that I wanted to bring it up here together is UX engineering to the rescue. What do you mean by rescue? Now, UX engineers are working as the bridge. They build coded prototypes, maintain component libraries, and act as a design system guardians. Okay, for an example, at my workplace, user experience engineers created a live component library where designers could preview how a form field react in dark mode before dev even touch those things, right? So that is where we are coming to utilize the system designs, right? This design system will touch upon where we generally see before we make those codings into the live, right? So that is one of the angle. Now another one is, what are the key skills of a UX engineers? As you already know some of the basic core things. Now it generally changes depending on the organization and what kind of an environment they are using. If they are creating something on AI, definitely the technology will be different. If they are working on a Java kind of a platform, generally HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or React or Angular kind of a scripts are being used. And knowledge of accessibility is important for all of us, whether you are a UX designer, you are a UX engineer. The accessibility is important because today accessibility is playing a major role in getting the success of the products of the online applications. It is totally dependent on the accessibility. So, who is responsible for all of this? There are certain elements, Figma tokens, okay, version control. Those are some of the areas which are making all of this. Now, when I'm talking about the key skills, are definitely HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, knowledge of accessibility, or Figma tokens. And I would like to say that version control and all of those are actually adding up. Now, if I talk or give you an example about that, they don't just know React, they know how to use the React to match the visual design pixel for pixel. Because today, our mental model is very high. You know, mental model or knowledge, our way of using the design or the systems or the products are way different. Today, we are using high end phones, very high end smartphones, very crystal clear clarity, and the pixel perfect designs are coming through. But if imagine those pixel perfects are not coming in your application, definitely the person who is using an iPhone or a high end Android phone, who sees the applications are so beautiful, but the alignments, the colors, the visual hierarchy is not good, right? There is a problem. There is a problem. So the key skills generally align them, and user experience and user engineers are completely aligned around them. Let's understand what are the tools of the trade. Since we are speaking about UX engineering, so what are the tools? So, storybook. What is a storybook? For isolated component previews, we have storybooks, which gives a clear idea, and you can learn those things by just going to one of the very global uh, design system library, which is called material.io. Right, if you type material.io on the web browser, you will see the Google created a long elaborated design system for the Android and for many other applications on the web application I'm talking about, or the digital platforms. Here comes the storybook into the picture. For isolated component previews, you need to take a reference from the storybooks. Then there are token studios. Okay, token studios generally sync the design tokens from Figma to code. So whatever we are using in the Figma as a design component or as a component, as a web component, the exact same thing is available with the code. So token studio generally take care of syncing the design tokens from Figma to code. Now the third thing which you might need as a tool is a framer motion. So framer motion is generally creating a smooth animation. Nowadays, you have seen the micro interactions, which is nothing but a small animation. When you hover on something, when you touch on something, there is a haptic feedback also, which comes with the certain tools. The framer motion is generally used for smooth animations. And chromatic, automated visual testing, which is done by many of the tools, are used. So chromatic is the one tool which generally we use for automated visual testing. For an example, user experience engineers use a storybook to show how every button behaves at different size and state. Now when I'm saying every button behaves, because there are certain behaviors, you know, buttons are active, non-active, when we are hovering it, when we are clicking on it, when we are pressing it, there is a different behaviors, right? So different sizes. Now there are states, right? When the button is in primary state or in secondary state or in tertiary state, those are the different states in which generally it happens that the the design system provide the complete idea into the storybook for the user experience engineers, right? So here is the tools that is of the trade, and we have those tools readily available. I would suggest to go material.io for the Android kind of a platform or for the web application, but you can also go to developers.apple.com. Just write down developers.apple.com, where you will find the design system for iOS devices. It could be for the watch, it could be for the MacBook or for the iPad or many other things, right? Nowadays there is Apple Vision Pro also, so you can also take the guides from for Apple Vision Pro. So those design systems are already defined and given in a public. So you can go there and you can design Android or iOS platform applications or the web applications with the given environment that you are creating. Maybe if you are creating for the native, I've given the two platforms you, and these are the only two good design systems which I would recommend you to follow on. Okay, let's come to the design system and code. I have given you some high level idea about the design systems. So, design systems are not just UI kits. Please understand this, it is not only the UI kits. There is a lot being explained when to use, how to use, where to use, why to use. Everything is being designed and crafted. Now, it is not only designed, it is well tested. Imagine if you are using an Android phone and you are using a particular application, let's say Google Mail or Gmail, right? If you find any flaw before that flaw comes to you, it is well tested with thousand of peoples, right? Thousand of the users beforehand, before it is been live. So they have well tested those things, and those are consistent across. So when you are using the any kind of a application of Google, let's say Google Maps, Google Gmail, or many other applications which you are using, you see there is a consistency in the color, in the background, in the spacing, in the font types, right? Or in the content guidelines, there are certain consistency. The same thing which you see in any other application. Let's say if you're using a Microsoft applications, any kind of a Microsoft applications, generally it is very, very similar. Even the shortcut keys are very similar. If you are using a Adobe tools, you have seen those are very constant and consistent. That their shortcut keys are also very, very similar, right? So where it is coming from? Who is thinking of it? Design systems, right? They include tokens, which actually cover the colors, spacing, font type, many other things. Then there are components, content guides, and usage rules, which is very, very important. Usage rules is one of the things which we are dependent on design system, because UI kit you will get it anywhere, but how and who will set the usage rules? So usage rules is the thing which we generally think of. Now, giving example, think material design, right? Think material design by Google or Polaris by Shopify, right? Shopify have a design system which is called as Polaris. There are companies who have made their design system as a public design system. So Google is one who generally called its design system as a material design, right? And there are many. For Shopify, it is Polaris. For Salesforce, it is Lightning, right? For IBM, there is a design thinking named Carbon. So on, in our company, we called it as Waypoint. So there is a name given to the design system, and these design systems are providing you all of these kits, components, tokens, guidelines, and usage rules. And that is where now we see that we are not struggling where every single page looks different, but every single page looks constant and consistent, right? So design tokens are atomic design values like color, spacing, radius, stored as well as variable in JSON or CSS, right? Now, user experience engineers help build component libraries in React or in Vue or in Angular or web components. For example, instead of redesigning a button for every screen, you build it once and reuse it like a Lego blocks, right? You know that Lego blocks. That Lego blocks can create any kind of a design, any kind of a structure, right? But that kind of a component we have built as a web component, and we are reusing whatever the number of application or business lines or the products we have today for the small business, medium business, or the large business scales. We can use those web components. We don't have to recreate again and again. That is the beauty of that. So component libraries are so much vast, so much reusable, and so responsible for the success of any kind of a brands or any kind of a product. Now, coming to some of the real world case studies. So, if I talk about the real world case studies, I believe today all of you are using some kind of a digital wallet or some kind of a application to pay the amount by UPI, right? How you are paying. Earlier, we used to carry the cash in our pocket. There was no other mechanism. If I just go just 6 year back before pandemic, right? Just 6 years back, that time we were using only hard cash. Okay, so or credit cards or debit cards, right? Those were the times when transferring the money was a pain, right? And we have seen during the pandemic, generally there was a need in 2018. There was a again an urge of digital products where we can carry the cash, right, where we can pay by digital products rather than having the cash, right? Because of the monetization, we were running out of the hard cash. So we came across products which generally cater without the hard cash, where we can use our cash in the banks with the application. This is one of the case study that I would like to talk upon, how it is going to help you, right? So if I talk about the case study one, build a design system with code integration. Okay, build a design with a code integration. So if I talk about that, so in our organization we build a design system with Figma plus storybook integrations, where we have solved the problem of inconsistent UI. Now everything is consistent, very consistent, whether you are creating the headers, whether you are creating the tabs or accordion or forms or grids or buttons or navigation or anything, right? The solution here is user experience engineers created a token driven system. Now they are just using a token instead of coding that, you know, we just give a token, so it brings up the color, the spacing, the font, the style, and everything. And that is the beauty. And what is the result here? We have reduced the bug rate by 40% and faster onboarding for the developers. So that is the beauty. The results are very drastic. 40% of faster onboarding for the developers. The reduced by 40% of bug rate. So you can imagine that we are not spending our effort and energy on just on those bugs, because those are already resolved by the tokens, right? The another area which I would like to talk upon, in the case study 2, where prototyping with a React for faster decisions. We use React to create a coded prototype for a talent review applications. Now, instead of waiting for 3 sprints for devs and user experience engineers to build the interactive prototype, stakeholder understood the workflow instantly and signed off early. See, most of the time, what happened that stakeholders generally ask, why don't you come up with some design and give us a demo of the real values or the data or the interaction or the profiles and many other things. Now, what is happening here is we have built a prototype with the UX engineers, and those are very much helpful for us. We can easily go to any kind of an environment. We can show them this is how it is going to help, this is how it is going to interact, this is how it can be giving the experience. There comes the importance of prototyping with React for faster decisions, and the stakeholders are happy and they give sign off early, and then we start the coding, then we start the actual development. We have done the prototyping and we have tested, we have gained the sign off, and we have erased lot of rework also, right? So here is a life story book or a Figma code plugin in action. You can preview buttons, toggle theme, and view accessibility scores. Generally, it has been seen when we are designing, we ignore what is the accessibility score. Nowadays there are a lot of plugins. When we are designing them, we can clearly see what kind of ratings are coming on the designs within a Figma, and we can make the important decisions over there. We can change the values in the token, and everywhere where we are using those web components can be changed, right? And it is like a super duper fast exercise for the developers, for the designers. Now just imagine this example. It acts as a Google Translate. Just it's a translator between the Figma and the browser. So otherwise it's a big pain, otherwise it's a big effort to identify what is the value, how to change that. So nowadays we are also taking the help of AI tools which are actually fixing us a lot of such issues for accessibility, right? Understanding, because the storybook is given, right? This is the level of accessibility we are seeing. There are three levels: one, two, and three. So we A, double A, and triple A, right? So we are following a double A. So double A is having these kind of a parameters. So those parameters are already being taken care in the storybooks, and storybooks are referenced by the AI tools and see the screen and give a command to the tokens in the design system and change those values so that it is very much enabling them to meet the double A certification of the accessibility. Now there are companies who are also meeting the AAA accessibility certifications. Those are very rare, those are very complex. But today AI is helping us to get those things also being achieved, right? That is why the designs which are coming nowadays are very beautiful, very consistent across, and it is taking very less of time, right? So that is the beauty of using design system. Now, what is the future of UX engineering? I know this question must be there because there is a disruption of AI. Guys, don't worry about AI. AI is just here to help all of us. Whether you are a UX designer or a UX engineer, it is definitely going to help you only. It is not going to replace anybody's job because it is not creating by its own. There is a need of a people who have to give a prompt, and then it generates certain level of designs or codes, right? So Gen AI tools like UIZard, Penpot, or Locofy now convert Figma files into code. But those Figma files are actually developed or designed by certain designers, right? For example, with one click, a homepage design becomes a working React component. Not perfectly yet, but evolving fast. But to evolve, we need a designer, we need a developer, right? We need engineers. So that is another example to call upon how AI and automation in design to code is working. So there is a hand in hand going to, and it is really required to understand that what is the importance of AI. Start using the AI for getting those kind of a into a mode set or in the mental model. There are courses available which you can learn very quickly how to prompt and get those things done. We are using it majorly into the research analysis, for creating the journey maps, for creating the analysis, summarization of the things, creating the personas, and many other things. We are using AI. We are entering an age of no code and dev friendly design tools like Framer, Webflow, and Anima. So design developer fusion roles are there, where many of the folks are taking care of designs and coding things, right? So in example, I would say in startups, you may be asked to design and ship your component using the tools like Plasmic, right? So that could be one of the tools, or your own components using the Plasmic can be used. So there are multiple tools which are actually into the role play. So start looking about these tools. So when I'm talking about a Plasmic, just go and take a look. Take also look onto the what is Framer. Okay, Framer, Webflow, Anima, these are certain tools which are used for bringing the no code dev friendly design tools, right? You just have to give the prompts and it will start creating the interfaces. Now these interfaces can again map to these stories which are created for what we are designing, for what we are developing, for whom we are developing, what kind of a problems we are solving, how we are solving those things will be the case. Now, the question is how you can start or how we can start, right? So I'll give you a snippets. I will give you some tips onto that, like how you can start. Learn HTML and CSS basics because this will be always there. Okay, whatever the technology will be coming there, but these are the frameworks which will also be there and will be very helpful. Learn HTML and CSS basics. Try out React with component libraries. Okay, understand the version control. Maybe you can take a look on the GitHub. It will give you a complete idea about what is version controlling because it is very much required to understand beforehand. Now build your own portfolio using the design system. So go to the design system which are publicly available. You can just search by the public design systems or just go to the material.io or developers.apple.com and you'll find them. For example, Frontend Mentor lets you keep practice converting Figma design into a live pages. Take any kind of a Figma design and convert them into a live pages using the web flows or Framer or any other tools, right? Now, what are the resources that you should look upon, right? So there are resources like Frontend Mentor, MDN, Web Docs. Now, YouTube, if you wanted to follow Kevin Powell, who is actually teaching CSS, and there is a Fireship channel which is teaching you JS, JavaScript, are really good to follow on, right? So take a note of that. YouTube Kevin Powell and Fireship is the channel for the JavaScript. And again, go to the GitHubs, start learning about the designs, the component, and practice how to convert them with the given tokens and the design system into a developed pieces. There is a Figma community also. If you type just figma.com, it opens the Figma, but if you type Figma community, so it will give you a complete understanding about what is happening using the Figma. So there is a big community, lot of libraries, lot of free designs, lot of learnings, lot of insights, innovative things, creative things are there. Now there is another site called UX Collective, right? So you can join the communities like Design System Slack or Figma community or UX Collective to learn all of this, right? This will give you enough knowledge about the the information that you are looking for the user experience engineering, right? So this is a small introduction about UX engineering and how it is been evolving, how it is been available today, how it is for you to take a look into the details of UX engineering. With that, I would like to conclude here and like to thank all of you to listen this particular topic. And here I am open for the
Thank you so
next three.
much, Mr. Abhishek Prasad. Can we take the questions now, Mr. Abhishek?
Yes, please.
Thanks for giving me chance to address your questions. Now let's start with first question. Is with us. Gurpreet is asking here, how does a UX engineer act as a bridge between the design and development teams in a product life cycle?
Well, this is a good question and very well asked because this is the first thing that you are looking how a UX engineer is bridging. Now you understand that not everybody is a UX engineer. Okay, the development folks are also called as front end developers. Now these front end developers have their own mental model, have their own skill set, have their own knowledge set and their expertise. They don't go and learn the design system. These UX engineers, which are skilled, okay, these are skilled people like a UX designers. They are skilled people who know coding, who know design system. Okay, designers doesn't know coding. That is why this people or these people, UX engineers, are bridging between the core developers and core designers. They are just placing as a bridge between them. Now these engineers are creating some rapid prototypes using some kind of a tools which are not very much given to the development folks because they are using a traditional technologies, let's say C++, Java, or any other kind of a technologies, right? They are using .NET or something. But to convey the message, to convey or to get the agreement from the stakeholders, we need some prototypes which is workable, which is also giving the values and also giving the interactions, right? Here comes the role of UX engineer. I believe you understand the role of UX engineer as a bridge between the core developers and core designers.
Thank you so much. I hope, Gurpreet, you got your answer from our today's expert, Mr. Abhishek Prasad. So, Radhika is with us. Radhika is asking, what are the key technical and design skills a UX engineer must possesses to effectively translate design mockups into functional code?
Great. Again, it's a good question, and I would definitely love to answer this question because this is something which every single developer is also looking for because they are also trying to enhance their skills. They wanted to also become at a level par with their previous understanding or the background knowledge about the development. So there are certain skill set. The first thing that I would recommend here is get the knowledge what is Figma. Okay, because where the story is starting from the Figma, the tool. If you have an understanding about the tool Figma, you are very comfortable how to use, how to utilize the tool. What is dev mode? How to use the dev mode into the Figma? That is another skill that you can hone. Now, coming to the most important piece of the question that I wanted to answer, and for all of you, understand design system. Design system is one of the component. Let's say it is an engine of a car. You know, it is the engine of a car which is driving the car. You have a steering, you have a wheels, but you don't have engine. What will happen? Right? There is no connection between the steering and the wheel because if engine is not working, things will not move, right? So design system is the very core thing for any kind of a UX engineers and UX designers. So in UX engineer have to have a complete knowledge of design system because in design system you will know what is web components, what is token, what is atomic level of a designs, and different patterns and the rules and the where to use, when to use, how to use, all of those. So there are everything mentioned in the design system. So that is the key.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek. I hope, Radhika, you got your answer from our today's expert. So, someone is asking here, how do UX engineers contribute to creating scalable design systems that serve both design and development teams?
Well, this is again a very good question, and it is being observed in the industry. How do a UX engineer contribute? See, in the field of design system or creating or any kind of a design system, without engineers, we cannot create that. Okay. Now, let's understand. Engineers are the one who are coding those components. Okay, so when you are saying contribution or scaling, so how do we scale? We generally create certain components which are reusable. Suppose developers, designer doesn't know many things, right? Designers doesn't know how to make the tools for uploading the file. They just know there is a field, there is a button, that's it. But engineers know how to code. what to pick, where to place, where to hang, what to give, right? All those complex things are taken care by engineers. Now, the people who knows design system, how to use the token, the color, the sizes, the spacing, and the engineering part, where how to code that, how to show the progress, how to show the responses, they are actually putting those things into the design system. They are contributing, and that is where we see the scaling happening, because they are creating the reusable components, reusable web components, tokens, and that is actually scaling the wideness or the expansion of any kind of a product. And design system is not only by the designers, it is by the UX engineers, by designers and content writers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek. I hope all the participants got their answer from our today's experts. If anyone have any questions regarding the admissions, they just write on us at admissions@lpu.co.in, and you can do WhatsApp chat with us. Our WhatsApp number is 985256900. I'm repeating the number. It's 985256900. And once again, thanks to our experts, Ms. Navjot Kaur and Mr. Abhishek Prasad. As we come to the end of this webinar, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our experts for sharing their valuable insights and expertise with us. Your presence, enthusiasm, and active participation have made this experience truly special. Hopefully, the attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize the information for better decision making regarding admissions. If anyone wants to access this webinar again, they can visit our website, that is lpu.in, or can be accessed on YouTube also. Stay connected with us for future webinars. Until we meet again, with the permission of my seniors, I would be signing off this webinar. Take care and goodbye. Have a great day.
Thank you.